Hi there, it's Jodi Stewart. Welcome to Gator Bites. Really happy to talk with today's guest because he is a co-founding member and bass player of a band whose popular songs have stood at the test of time, several top 10 hits, and they are in South Florida this week playing the Lyric Theater in Stewart. So let's go ahead, welcome in Lance Hoppen from the band Orleans. Hi, Lance. Nice to meet you.
And you too, Jodi. Good to be here today.
Yeah, good. Thanks so much for joining us. So much to talk about. You guys got back on the road. Was it back in June you started playing out again?
Right. Of course, everybody shut down in March of 2020, and I thought it'd be okay. 90 days will be good to go. No way. So, yeah, we started up in June again, and have had a good run of dates. A lot of the dates were uh, transported from 2020 to 21. And some of them are actually even transported into next year. That's how this has been working. So we're actually booked for next year, which is our 50th year
Wow.
as a working band.
So, what was it like when you got out for the first time and did your first show after lockdown to perform in front of a live audience again?
Well, it's not like we rehearsed much after all this time, but we actually did. We went back to just brush up and make sure we knew what we thought we knew and add to it. And so, and I think we started in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. We play Florida quite a bit. It's been a good home for us. Our stomping ground initially was the Northeast, particularly New York State.
Right.
A lot of people have moved down from the Northeast to Florida. So
Yes, we have.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm originally a native New Yorker, so yeah, there's a lot of us transplants here. So during lockdown and when you weren't touring during the pandemic, you guys wrote and you produced a new Christmas album with mostly new original music.
Right. So, as I said, we thought it'd be short term, and then it wasn't. So we did what a lot of bands were doing, and that was create videos in isolation, was what it was called.
Right.
So we each had to learn or brush up or learn from scratch how to home record both audio and video, and we undertook that project, and by and large created four new productions for YouTube for that kind of release, and then
Right.
and also started releasing weekly to our Facebook crowd archival video from shows from over the decades. So we did that for 30 weeks or something. It was quite the thing.
I bet.
And but we realized we had these four new productions, so the thought was, well, why don't we just continue and make a new album? But the next thought was, why don't we, instead of doing that first, why don't we do a Christmas album, because that has more of a deadline? And so we undertook that starting in January of this year, and who knew it would take 6 months? But it's a very long, tedious process, because you have to uh, you're communicating your ideas by actual audio files. So I would maybe create a background vocal arrangement in
Right.
my head. Then I'd have to sing all the parts. And then I would send the parts out and go, Lane, you sing that and send it back. And Fly, you sing that and send it back. And so back and forth, back and forth. And then compiling it all and then making it sound as if it was all done at once. So that was the process for some of it, for a lot of it. Some of the songs from the Christmas album, which has just been released in October, were lifted as is. Maybe three of them didn't need anything other than, like the title cut, New Star Shining, was cut in 94 by us.
Okay.
Okay, so that was our pre-existing thing. And then Fly, our guitar player, he had a couple things that were just fine as is. But other things had initial starts, had other lives previously. And we would either add to them or like take them apart, the multi-tracks, and then replace things. And so that was maybe half of it. And then the other part was started from scratch, newer things that we went and cut in a studio, maybe bass, drums, and guitar, and then worked from there. So it's a mishmash of stuff and styles, because we're eclectic, for better or
You
worse. And
You
so,
are.
yeah, so there's a range, there's very pop stuff. There's a one traditional kind of church 4-part choir thing. I discovered in my YouTube searches of us as we were posting last year, that my brother Larry, who passed in 2012,
Yes.
the radio voice of Orleans, he had done a pretty rockin' version of Winter Wonderland, and I contacted the guy who recorded it, and I said, "Can we use this?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely." So he's on the record posthumously.
Oh, how nice.
And it's kind of like a New York kind of arrangement of Winter Wonderland, where he sang and played all over it. It's very cool.
Will you guys be performing any of the songs on the Christmas album on your current tour?
Well, it's still a little early for Christmas. I mean,
Yeah.
but now we're past Halloween, so that's good.
So
but yeah,
maybe.
We're going to do at least New Star Shining, the title cut, in these upcoming November shows, because we're moving in that direction. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, you mentioned being eclectic, and I wanted to, and you mentioned upstate New York. So you guys originally formed back in the day up in Woodstock, New York. You called the band Orleans. That's how did you come up with that name? Because I read it was based on some of your early music influences.
Right. So this predates me, because the actual start of Orleans is like February 1972. I was still in high school.
Okay.
It was a trio. It was John Hall, Wells Kelly, and my brother Larry.
Right.
And I went to see them a few times. And what was really great about that version of the band was they would at any given point switch instruments. So John would play a lot of guitar, but then he'd play bass, and then he'd play drums. And then Larry would play a lot of bass, but then he would play guitar and then keyboards. And then Wells would play drums, and he would play then bass and guitar. It was like crazy. And it was good no matter what. So when I was offered the chance to join them in October of that year, 72,
right,
I jumped at it. I'm sure nepotism helped.
Sure.
but I didn't fail the audition. Let's put it that way. And it's been amazing. So when I was 18, I joined. I'm coming up on 68. So it's been almost 50 years, the backbone of my career. Not the only part, but because we all do other things. But it's been, nobody could have predicted that we would have been around this long.
Oh no, I don't think so. And for the younger folks who might not know the name Orleans, you definitely know the music. Still the One, Dance With Me, so many big radio hits. And I will tell you, Lance, I have a particular favorite, which is Love Takes Time.
Yeah, and that was Mach 2. John had left the band in 77, and we reformed, and then we had that hit. But it has all the same trademarks, vocal style and Larry's voice and all that. And you asked how we got the name. Well, that, again, predated me. And
right.
Yeah, the band was doing a mix of, it was John and they were all writing and doing that, but they were also playing a lot of covers, because you have to do that if you're going to play 2-hour, 3-hour gigs at colleges and whatever. So a lot of it was New Orleans influence, Meters, Allen Toussaint, that kind of thing, or Stax, Memphis, very swampy stuff. So a lot of R&B. So they couldn't agree on a name. And when Wells spat out Orleans, they said, okay, what the hell? We'll call it that, and then we'll change it. And once you get branded, that's it. It's hard to rebrand.
Yeah, I bet. And now such a familiar name. So were you with the band when they recorded in Alabama in Muscle Shoals?
Right. So that was our first album, my first real pro experience of recording. I'd done some minor stuff prior. And we were produced by Barry Beckett and Roger Hawkins, who are legendary players and producers of the Muscle.
I mean, what a legendary place to record.
Oh, yeah. And we did it on 15 tracks, because track 1 didn't work. So it was 15 tracks in 15 days. They wanted to do it in a week. And we said, completely, please have 2 weeks. And so it was, by today's standards, very scaled down and raw, and that album remains a cult favorite among, the diehards, because it is that essential, been saving up these songs for years, and let's put them on this record. So yeah, I was there. I remember.
What an iconic experience to record there. And then I read that you guys really made it big after performing at Max's Kansas City in New York, which I remember going to back in the day. I mean, there was no better place to play in New York City at that time.
Right. So after we made the first record, then when we were on ABC at that point, we made our second album, and we self-produced. And there's some cool stuff on it, but ABC hated it, and they didn't put it out. Only in the Netherlands because for some odd reason we have good following there.
Right.
So they dropped us, and then we went back to the city to showcase again as we had done the first time. And this time at Max's Kansas City. And I tell the story this way because I think it's true, but even if it's not, it's a really good story.
Right.
We played 7 nights. We played 2 shows a night, and 3 on the weekend. So if I'm not mistaken, it was the last show of the last night, where we were pretty shocked when Chuck Plotkin, who was the head of A&R VP at Asylum Records, of course, Asylum has Eagles, Jackson Brown, Joni Mitchell,
right, all the big acts back then,
all the places where we wanted to be. He came and saw the band, and he, despite whatever we sounded like, he loved it. So he signed us to the label, and he also arranged from ABC to buy the rights to re-record "Let There Be Music" and "Dance with Me," which were on that record that they dropped us for in their initial stages. So they were maybe hit songs, but not hit records. And Chuck, with his production know-how, turned them into hit records. So
they sure were.
Yeah,
Let
The Music opened the door at 40 something, and Dance with Me knocked it down at number 5 or so, top 5. And so there you go. That was our LA. That and the next record was still the one on it, were our LA experience.
And we still enjoy the songs until this day. I wanted to go ahead and give out your website, orleansonline.com, where people could find out more and check out the new Christmas album. And tomorrow night, that's Thursday night, you will be at the Lyric Theater in Stewart. Tickets are still available. And I read that the following night, and just let me know if this show is still on, are you in Jacksonville the next night, Friday?
Yes, we are. Yeah,
okay, great.
It's something to do with the radio station there.
Yeah, I believe so. So you have 2 Florida shows this week, Thursday, Friday, Stewart. Then again in Jacksonville for anyone who might be traveling this weekend. Lance, it's been a pleasure talking to you. If you want to go out and if you want to give out your social links, we can give that out and people could check out some stuff there.
Yeah, we're not like TikTokers or anything. But
no, I'm not either. What's your Facebook page?
We do have a Facebook page, and to find it, it's Orleans Music. So
okay,
and then
perfect.
Between that and the website, you could get as much information as you could possibly stand.
Yeah, and we'll link from our website too. So stay safe on the road and have a great show tomorrow night in Stewart. Thanks so much for talking with us.
You're welcome, Jodi. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.